Looking at this game, you almost think Wales have nothing to lose because there is so little expectation. And in a funny way, New Zealand have nothing to gain because even if they win well, people will just shrug and say, well, it's just Wales. And they'll still be focused on the poor performance by their very high standards against England last weekend. And that is the intriguing part of this match. Wales have the opportunity to start putting those seeds of doubt in New Zealand fans and players' minds if they can make themselves really tough and nuggety and hard to beat in the opening quarter of the match. And then it will be a really interesting kind of psychological battle as much as anything. In all likelihood, it's going to be a comfortable New Zealand win. But what will we learn from both teams? And as I say, Wales can lose and still come out as the kind of victors on the day, if you like. And Scott Robertson could have a really good win and still be having question marks hanging over his head. Or alternatively, are the All Blacks, with some of the changes they've made, going to, point to potentially the evolution of the All Black side? There's a lot of really interesting narratives to get into in what seems like it could be a game that might not be as interesting as some others. But yeah, let's get into it. Let me know your thoughts in the chat down below. Give the video a thumbs up, hit subscribe. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers. That is the Welsh team. And when it rains, it pours. They've had Jack Morgan, talisman, captain, hero out. And that was a real shame, but it allowed Ollie Cracknell to come in, and he showed how desperate he was to be pulling on that Welsh jersey. He did really well last week, and then he's injured. But that does present an opportunity for Harry Deeves, and this is one way to build depth, is to have people given an opportunity that you wouldn't necessarily have put them in for if you had the options and the choice. But let's see what Harry Deeves can do. That and Joe Hawkins are the big stories from this Welsh team. Joe Hawkins back in at 12, in for Ben Thomas, and he is now returning fully from his exile from Welsh rugby while he was playing with Exeter Chiefs, and due to the rules, he was unable to play, and that's a real positive sign because he looked like part of the solution moving forward a couple of years ago, and along with Lewis Rees-Zammit in that Welsh backline, he was one of the players who was suddenly lost, along with all the other players that Welsh fans knew that they were going to be losing, like Lee Halfpenny and Liam Williams and the rest. But there we go. What do you make of that team? Going through the pack, the props move from the bench to start with, a real shame Nicky Smith is out. That's a big blow. How deep into the game can Rhys Carre go? We're going to find out. And then Gareth Thomas, he's been around the block. He's played in big games. So that's a lot of experience there. The back five of the scrum, except for Harry Deeves, is the same. And on the flankers, there are two flankers there with Alex Mann and Harry Deeves that are both under 100 kilos. Both massive work rate guys, like tough. They stick their head in the spokes. Every time I see them, they, much like Jack Morgan, they play beyond the level of someone of their size should be able to play. Harry Deeves and Alex Mann are tough. Alex Mann showed that last week. Let's see what they can do. And Wales have an out-and-out 7. So can they put Harry Deeves to work at the breakdown to try and slow New Zealand down? Let's see. I also wonder, when I look at the rest of the side, are they trying to play a little bit quicker? Is the two the two smaller, quicker flankers, is that part of an effort to try and not go toe-to-toe with New Zealand physically? Because that is a battle you would think that they're going to lose. But to try and do something different. And when you look at the selection of Blair Murray at fullback, that starts to lead into that. Because Blair Murray, amazing on attack, and his ceiling on attack is really high. He's fantastic. It's a cool story with him being a New Zealander as well. Guaranteed they are going to have the camera on him during the haka, and that'll be fun. But last week he got totally exposed. And it's unfortunate for Blair Murray that the aerial game is coming right back into vogue because of this rule about having to allow the chasing players on a kick to, not to be blocked. And that has really meant that the kick, the box kick, is back to being a huge weapon again to the level that it was in 2019. And that's the way the tactically things are going right now. That does not play into Blair Murray's strength. He looked exposed, and you would imagine that New Zealand will exploit that. The flip side of that is maybe that's a good thing for Wales. Because maybe what you don't want is New Zealand to have possession against this Welsh team, because New Zealand's core skills are incredible. They can absolutely shred teams. But if they're focused on kicking, I don't know, in a funny way, that could actually be the lesser of two evils for Wales. We will see. We will see. They've also got Tom Rogers coming into the back three with Josh Adams being out suspended. One of the concerning things is that 10 of this team, I think it's 10 of the 23, will not be available to Wales next week, including Thomas Williams, who is starting to form quite a nice little halfback partnership with Dan Edwards. So, yeah, I mean, that's the concerns about next week. Let's not get into that too much. Yeah, the centres look really robust. Max Llewellyn and Joe Hawkins, quite bigger. Actually, the two centres are bigger than the two flankers, which is quite unusual. I didn't think Wales used Max Llewellyn. Given his size, they didn't use him as a hard carrier. I hope they do this time. And defensively, could New Zealand exploit? I mean, Will Jordan in that sort of outside channels, you could see him, and Caleb Clark, you could see them having a field day. We'll see. I'll come on to New Zealand in just a second. Tough. It's going to be tough. But let's see what this Welsh team are made of with a proper challenge. Having come through against Japan, showed a lot of character whilst not being the best team, managing to squeeze out a win, and that would have given them some confidence. And they just need to make sure the first 10, 20 minutes are solid, and then they can build in that level of confidence. By the way, looking forward, I said let's leave next week to next week. I'm just going to talk about next week right now. Yes, it is the visit of the world champion Springboks to Cardiff. It's the only game on that weekend, and I've been travelling around all over to where the games are, and I'm going to be in Cardiff at the Walkabout, a live show with some special guests, which is going to be at 11 a.m. on match day. Kickoff is, 3 o'clock? So perfect way to start the day. There'll be some breakfast laid on. I have heard a little rumour that if you come along, you will you may well be treated to a free drink upon entry. And you will get a wristband. This is absolutely cast iron guaranteed. You will get a wristband on entry that means you can queue jump after the game and get straight back in. You can walk past the big queue and you can get straight back into the Walkabout in Cardiff, right near the stadium. You don't have to worry about rushing out and getting somewhere to get in. You can just stroll in past the queues, and that is all with your ticket, which I'll leave a link in the description and pin it in the comments as well. So it'd be absolutely awesome to see you there. Moving over to this New Zealand team, all change. Only Scott Barrett, Simon Parker, the only guys who continue, and they have, due to injuries or non-selection, they have not been involved in all the games. And there are some guys that are continuing, only a couple. There are some guys that are going from the bench to the start. When you look at a lot of the pack and some of the back replacements, there are a few others like Rico Ioane, Anton Linnett-Brown, who are on the outside looking in and have been given an opportunity. And there are a couple of others who missed the last game due to injury and are given one last crack for 2025, and that's Caleb Clark and Fabian Holland. And there is, and photographed there, and the exciting one for AB's fans, the one that All Black fans have been calling for and getting really excited about and getting frustrated that he hasn't been given more minutes, Ruben Love, who is a proper talent. And that also means with him being at fullback, Will Jordan goes back to the right wing, which does make me think Wales could be in trouble, because Will Jordan, I mean, he's a fantastic fullback. He's an even better winger, and he has the potential to even score a bag full of tries that he gets up to a try a game on his incredible try-scoring record in Test rugby. We'll see. Third choice in some positions on the bench, but nevertheless, when you look at the bench, Finlay Christie's been around the block and done it. Bell and Bauer are promising, good players. Christian Leo Willie will be disappointed with how he played when he's had chances before. He's got another opportunity off the bench. Guys like Fletcher Newell, Lester Fainga-Anuku, Josh Lord, Sevu Reece. It still looks stacked, doesn't it? The reality is Cortez Ratimer is not Cameron Roigard. So actually, against Wales, this was probably the plan all along, to build the depth. Damien McKenzie at fly half, that's an interesting one. I do think Damien McKenzie is a little bit like Marcus Smith. Incredibly talented. And actually, Marcus Smith is becoming more and more like Damien McKenzie because he's operating at 15 as well as in the 10 position. Damien McKenzie at 10 is just, in terms of pure talent, pure ability, elite. But in terms of grabbing games by the scruff of the neck, I mean, he did it for 20 minutes against Scotland off the bench, but starting and winning and managing big games, putting his team in the right part of the field, unleashing players, he can do it, has done it, but it doesn't happen enough. And I just kind of think DMAC and Marcus Smith are quite similar, both incredibly talented players, but we'll see how they go. One of the biggest talking points, aside from Ruben Love, who, what's he done? He's had 4 caps before, and they were last year he started against Japan, scored 2 tries. Oh no, he came off the bench against Japan, didn't he, and scored 2 tries. He started against, what team did he start against? France. That's it. That's who toured in July. He started one of the matches against France. Did okay. And then he was on the bench twice in the Rugby Championship, but only played about 20 minutes of rugby in total. So he's not been used very much, but he's been someone that All Black fans have been telling me in the comments and talking about a lot. They're really excited about a potential difference maker, someone with a little bit of that special sauce, sprinkle a bit more stardust in the back three. Let's see how he goes. Let's see what type of game New Zealand play. Centres is the area that people are not so happy about, saying that Rico Ioane and Anton Linnett-Brown are the past and they should be looking to the future and elsewhere. I hear that, but also the age that they are and the experience that they have, the World Cup is less than 2 years away, and it's a tough one. And yeah, Razor's going to have to pull the trigger at some point on the next cabs off the rank in that position, or he's going to have to persist with the guys that he's got and have got game time under their belt. I think in both of those cases at the moment, they are third choice in their position, and they're pretty good options for that kind of level, aren't they? I'd say they are. So I've got no issue personally with that, but interesting. Do I do a combined 23-man squad? I don't think I'm going to do it on this one. I just feel cruel. I don't want to just put up a whole team that would be the All Blacks. I could just do it there. There you go. There's your combined 23-man squad. Actually, no, it's not. Yes, Tamaiti Williams, Pasilio Tosi, Samasoni Takiaho, Scott Barrett, Fabian Holland, Simon Parker would get in at 6, yeah. Duplessis Karifi, yeah. Wallace Satiti at 8, yeah. So the pack would be all New Zealand. And the bench, I think, is the same. I take no pleasure in this, honestly. I'm an Englishman. I love the rivalry with Wales. I want a good Welsh team. The back line, you pick DMAC. Actually, you pick Thomas Williams. There you go. I would put Thomas Williams. If I could pick a combined 23-man squad, Thomas Williams comes in. And other than that, it's all New Zealand. It's just where we are. But to go back to where I started, that is why this is a free hit for Wales. If they lose by 50 points, no one's going to hold it against Steve Tandy. No one's going to be writing off these Welsh guys. They're going to know they've gone out there and done the best that they can. That's what they're capable of right now. However, if they were to keep it competitive and the scoreline was something like 30 points to 20, people will take that as a win for Wales, and Scott Robertson would have even more pressure heaped on him. Scott Robertson has to win and win well and play well and probably score quite a few tries. Otherwise, the knives will be getting even sharper for him back in New Zealand. That makes this game intriguing. I do think New Zealand will win by 40. Let me know what you think. I'll see you on the next one.